Embracing change, that can be one of the hardest things anybody can do. And now is the time of change. We talk to an expert next on this episode of The Crude Truth.
In 1901, at Spindletop Hill near Beaumont, the future of Texas changed dramatically as, like a fountain of fortune, thousands of barrels of oil burst from the earth towards the sky. Soon, Detroit would be cranking out Model Ts by the millions, and America was on the move, thanks to the black gold being produced in Texas. Now, more than a century later, the vehicles are different, but nothing else has truly changed. Sure, there may be many other alternative energy sources like wind and solar and electric. But let's be honest, America depends on oil and entrepreneurs, and if the USA is truly going to be independent, it has to know the crude truth.
NAPE is a proud sponsor of The Crude Truth. Be sure to register for the NAPE Expo 2024, February 7th through the 9th at the George R. Brown Convention Center in Houston, Texas. Hurry and register today. NAPE, where deals happen.
This episode is brought to you by LFS Chemistry, committed to being good stewards of the environment and providing the tools so you can be too. NAPE Expo, where deals happen. Air Compressor Solutions. When everything is on the line, Air Compressor Solutions is the dependable choice to keep commercial business powered up. Sandstone Group. Exec Crew. Elevate your network, elevate your knowledge. Oil and Gas Workers Association. Pecos Country Operating. Fueling our future.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever the time of day it is that you're either watching this episode or listening. Thank you as always for tuning in for another episode of The Crude Truth. I am here again today in our Dallas studio, and I'm just so excited because we are here now. It is the fall. It is now a season of change, obviously, for common sense and practical reasons. But also, we're going through so much change. And as the next year rolls on, there's even going to be more change. And guess what? Nobody can handle change properly 9 times out of 10. And that's the crude truth. And today, I have just brought on somebody that is literally an expert in this field. I have brought on somebody that is a speaker, an author, and a life coach. Today, my guest is Kristy Kerns. Kristy, how are you?
I'm doing amazing. Thank you. How are you?
Oh my gosh, I cannot complain. I'll say that. It's a good day.
Very good.
Thank you so much for coming in and being on the Crude Truth. And as you heard and as we talked about in our little pre-production meeting, that it's like there's so much change going on in the world, and nobody can embrace it. It's just so hard to embrace the change. And right now, nobody's even talking about it. And so you are literally an expert in this field. I mean, you have a degree in health science. You have been a life coach, and you are a mentor to other individuals. So it was a no-brainer to have you come on, be on the show, and give the crude truth in a smooth way, so to speak, and not just shove something down their throats, So Kristy, for listeners out there, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Obviously, Kristy, I have a bachelor's in health science. I was in the medical field for about 20 years. I used my coaching, obviously not certified back then, just in the OR and recovery patients. What I observed is I worked in cosmetic is that no matter if you're fixing somebody on the outside, if you don't fix the insides, you'll never be perfect. So I tapped into the coaching, and that's basically what kind of skyrocketed my passion about this.
Wow. Okay. So you were in the medical field helping individuals on a daily basis already. And it's like, hey, man, I can help you out here. But I mean, it's so true. It's like what's on the inside is truly what matters.
It is.
And I mean, you can meet somebody and they could look one way on the outside, but if they are just a pure, genuine person, they're beautiful inside and out.
Yes, it radiates through.
Yes, it truly does. And if they're a bad person, that can radiate through, I think, as well, and kind of change your whole perception on somebody instantly, I would think.
Yes, it does.
And I can't imagine that. And I feel like sometimes I think that's something that we all see, is like we finally see somebody for what they are on the inside. And you can't deal with it sometimes because you're like, well, this is what I see. But yet the person that now sees we'll just make it easy, the ugly on someone, how can you see them in a better way again or embrace the change that you see?
What I like to teach is basically, yes, there's ugly in everybody and we have emotions, but if you're a part, let's say a relationship, if you're wanting to understand your partner, why they're having those emotions or being ugly, it's most likely triggers. So if you tap into go deeper, what are the triggers that are bringing that up? Because technically it's not against you. It's something that the person that is portraying that anger, whatever it is, or ugliness. So it's fixing that person and understanding, well, why are you doing this, and going deeper, but also teaching partnership and relationships with business or anything that it's for the other person receiving it, they need to be able to empathize, ask, maybe acknowledge their feelings, ask why are you feeling this way? And is there anything that I can do to change this or help it to come? So it's really a lot in just depth of going down in triggers, because once you heal those triggers, it won't be the ugly part coming out.
Wow. So there's a lot of communication that goes on.
Yes, you have to be able to communicate, because if I'm going to, let's say, be in a relationship and my partner is having a bad day, well, is it really the bad day, or is it something, or did I do something that made that come up? But it's really not me, it's them. So it's always embrace the change for yourself.
So usually then it is true that say it's not you, it's me.
Yes.
That is usually true then.
It is true. There's studies been shown it's the mirror effect, the mirror effect, meaning that I'm projecting onto you all about me.
Right.
Or what I feel, or, what I see myself as. So changing that mirror is very, very helpful on what you project to other people.
Well, okay, when you say the mirror effect, and so would it be then if somebody were to go, it's always about you? Is that part of that mirror effect then?
Yes, because they're saying it's always about you, but if they're the one with it's always about you, well then is it really all about you, or is it about me? Because I'm constantly, well, it's always about you. Well, if I'm the one pointing the finger, then am I asking too many questions, or do I, or look at me, or look at me? So it's really just paying attention to.
We're done. That's the crude truth right there. When somebody says that it's all about you, they're probably talking about themselves. And it also goes back to that, what is that cheesy old saying where when you point the finger at someone, you got, 3 or 4 fingers pointing back at you.
Yes.
Wow. Wow.
Powerful.
It is powerful to where you can almost empathize with that person in a different way and be like, oh, it's okay.
Yes.
And not being a smart ass want to say, I apologize.
That's okay.
Wow.
That's what I want to teach, because many people don't understand that or know that. And I think that's really why friendships, relationships, marriages fail, because they don't understand that dynamic. They take it personally, it's my fault, or the person, oh, it's not you, it's me. Well, no, it really is you. I know. So let's fix that. It's not you, it's me. It really is me. So,
wow. Well, let's dive back. Let's go back a little bit, because you said, this is really what I want to teach, what I want to coach. Okay, so you were in the medical field for 20 years. When did this change happen for you to embrace it that, hey, I need to step out on my own, be an entrepreneur, and go and do this line of work?
When I met I actually was a client of my mentor, and first time I saw her as a coach, she's actually got her PhD, a psychologist and everything, but she withdrew from that and teaches the formula that so I asked her about it, questioned, I was very intrigued by it. And she's like, you have the gift. I think you'll be amazing at it. And I said, I want to learn. And I just started learning. I went through her course. I went master, all the way up to the top. I still go back. I still see her. I still ask questions and learn. And it was just so life-changing just knowing her story and how she she actually owned 2 drug rehabs facilities and closed them down, because she was just like, all I'm doing is masking the problems of drugs and addiction and stuff like that. Addiction can be anything, working out or being anything. So there's something deeper. And when she taught me that, that's when I decided that this is definitely for me. And I just kind of skyrocketed.
When you mention addiction, and I know that's not 100% what and I know you help individuals, but you talk about masking. That is so true. You see somebody that's addicted to drugs, and all of a sudden they become, and I believe in God before we go on, and I believe that Jesus saved us from our sins. Believe it or not, I'm a good old fashioned Southern Baptist, but a lot of these individuals all of a sudden become very religious. And I think it's more that they still got that addiction fix onto what's the next thing to be addicted to.
Yes, it's
Yes.
hyper-focused, received off of that addiction, but now hyper-focused on, let's say, religion or spirituality or whatever. And
Yes.
so now that's their new addiction. So it's still an addiction. It's just not the narcotics or whatever it is.
Right. And so, and again, you mentioned working out. I know somebody that put it down and then all of a sudden became a professional, near professional runner, just, and then you hear them say the same things like, oh man, it's a good high. We get that runner's high. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, there you go.
That's what happens when the addictions. Yeah.
Yes. And so I found that very interesting, that it's like, hey, you're just masking the problem. And so how do you, being a life coach and somebody that speaks to groups, what are you telling them in that scenario of hey, you just, in that type of scenario?
Well, everybody's different, obviously. It depends on the addiction. It really goes down to childhood and what people have implanted on us. So it could be, lack of father or the mother, whether they're present. I'm trying to get this, I call them the love languages, but filled in the wrong way.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to look for, I'm going to say a high on something, but that high is not fulfilling the shopping, not fulfilling those things. What is the deeper root? So like I have a client, obviously just, they were super, super successful. Father never gave them any positive rapport, said, I love you or anything. So this person has addictions on many aspects and is looking for that, I call them a pleaser, trying to please everybody to receive that love that they never got.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. You've really kind of, I feel like it opened up my eyes that there's so much at the root that is common sense in a way, which you hear about, which is, having a loving family, or, hey, you may truly have a problem with yourself more than anything else.
It is self, because we can't blame anybody else because we all have choices.
Right.
Our parents had choices, or whoever raised us, they did the best that they could raising us, that what they were taught, and we're taking on what they're taught. And so, but we have a choice. And if you want to keep on, I call it the vicious cycle. Do you want to spiral up or do you want to spiral down?
Right.
So you want to go to your higher power, then and be the best version of you. You want to go up. So you have to spiral down and understand that, oh, it's inside here. So down from when I was 5 years old, this happened, or 6 years old, or whatever, and address those and rip the Band-Aids off. And by me, my coaching and my techniques and healing and stuff, you're literally healing from the inside out. I like to say, put the salve on you and you're healing from the inside out, and it brings you up. Mm-hmm.
So would you say that, and again, I'm not an expert in this video. I told you, before, I was like, hey, man, I'm in the oil and gas industry, and, and I'm blessed, but, I definitely don't get too open or emotional. Would there be a correlation between spiraling down to get into the problem and hitting rock bottom,
yes,
so to speak?
I usually call it, oh, you dug yourself a hole because your actions, your addictions and everything. But I help the people, in a sense, dig a hole, because then I'm going to, they're digging the hole. I'm filling it with water by healing them. They think I'm drowning them. And what I'm doing is I'm filling the hole. This is the way I terminate.
Yeah.
Filling the hole with water, because you'll eventually float to the top and you can just climb out. So I'm here helping you when you hit rock bottom to get to the top, but you think I'm drowning you by hitting all the triggers and the wounds and healing and everything. But if you trust in me, I'll get you to the top and I'll let you just walk out.
Man, you're definitely throwing some knowledge my way today, and it makes total sense. It's like, let's just slowly rise to the top,
and I'll be there with you.
And it's not an overnight thing, is
it?
It takes time to fill that hole with water and rise.
But especially if you're fighting me.
yeah, man, you are. So, how long now have you been on this journey of being, doing the life coaching and talking and being an author? Because you do write as well.
I do. Yeah. I do little blogs and stuff like that. Obviously, just from my own knowledge. I'm not a professional writer, we'll say, but I try to give little pointers of what I know. I have had my certification almost 5 years now.
Okay.
So,
Okay. And, as an entrepreneur, how has that journey, been, just on that whole standpoint?
Well,
one of the hardest and what's one of the best things so far?
Well, it was hard because I did, I got certified and then started right when COVID. So not seeing people in person. So then it was Zoom, but you're really, and I love Zoom, but it just is not the same as belly to belly. I'm very, you can vibe off of each other,
Right.
and understand, and you're not distracted. So that kind of put me at a halt for a little bit. I did have a couple clients that I did Zoom, but then I just, I went to a mentorship, retreat, and this man just kind of, I went in thinking I was going to do something else, and it really tapped into, no, this is my passion and my purpose. So let's bring that coaching part and make it my business, not just by, hey, helping you out or whatever. So that's really what happened.
Well, as we talked about, you have your blog and what I call articles. One of them, and I want to highlight, is it's called Practical Tips from a Life Coach. I mean, that seems like a pretty, could we talk about that one a little bit?
Sure.
And, what is it about being, what are some of these practical tips that people can just, like, oh, okay.
Well, obviously that ranges from everywhere. I'll just do the tips that I do use personally and have seen.
Okay.
Every morning I get up and give gratitude. Some days are a little bit rougher than others, and hey, give simple for the air that I breathe, my heart pumping. I didn't have to do anything. Once you set your mindset, you can kind of predict your day. If we wake up, oh, I'm running late or whatever, that predicts your day. So it's really mindset, and just getting yourself. If I could have everybody do mindset in the morning and even before you go to sleep, because when you're sleeping, you go into the REM and all that good stuff. It really does retrain your brain.
Mhm.
I truly believe in affirmations sleeping at night, because your brain will receive them, because we're in hyper alert, right? We're sleeping because we're animals, and God forbid somebody breaks into our house. So that's another tip.
Wow.
Obviously, I like to tell people to segment intend, is what I call it. So, and I do this every day. I literally write how my day is going to go,
Okay.
and I give gratitude that it's already happened. So I'm living in that emotion and that feeling that it's already happened in the present tense, because that keeps you on that high, that natural high always.
And that's first thing in the morning.
First thing in the morning, yeah.
So it was like, all right, I got to go. For me, it's like, all right, I got to go fix this well today. So first thing in the morning, like, man, I'm excited that I fixed this well today. First thing in the morning, or drilling a new one and producing 1 million barrels a day. Right, that's my goal. But okay, that's awesome.
Yeah, so I literally sit there, have coffee. I don't check emails or anything. It's me time, 30 minutes of me time, and that's it. And if everybody did that, their life would definitely start changing a little bit.
Wow. Wow. So do you help, I guess, build out schedules for individuals as well, for as being a coach and all that kind of stuff? Or you just kind of say, hey?
No, I just give my opinion, put it on your calendar, especially everybody, if you do put it on your calendar, I put it on my phone. Okay, morning scripting. That's what I call it. And there you go. So,
for someone that would do that, right, and take these tips, our suggestions, right, they would have to be changing, and they're going to embrace that change. Why is it so difficult for us, especially for men, to not embrace the change that we have?
Because we're all programmed already.
Okay.
We're all programmed. Why would I want to change? It's the unknown. You're not going to know what's going to come if I'm going to make little changes. It's just like having a diet, changing your body when you work out, everything. It's the unknown, and it's scary for many people.
Wow. I feel like in today's world, we are at a place right now to where nobody talks. And I think the mentors, life coaches are becoming more of an important thing, because we are so unfortunately divided that nobody's willing to really just sit down and talk face to face, or as you said, belly to belly, about what's going on, about the changes, or more importantly, embrace the changes that they can have. Are you seeing that as well, that's happening?
I think I'm a totally different person on this earth, because everybody, no matter where it is, are attracted to me. So I think that I attract that. So I don't really see that. So I meet strangers, and I'm hearing their life story, and I give advice, and I have no idea what their name is, basically. So for me, it's a little bit different experience. If I'm to take myself out and look at the world, I would probably say yes. I think that there's a lot of dynamics out there, social media, all the stuff that is separating. the human connection that we were designed to have.
You know, you talk about social media and that human design to have that connection. I was listening to one person talk the other day, and they go, "Oh, I remember when I did this work with a group 15 years ago, and that when during our breaks, we all sat there and we all talked, and it was like, hey, we got a break, we're doing this." He goes, but then 20 years later, we all got together again for a new project, and during breaks, everybody is just right there on their phone, going through stuff. And it's like, you know, you're 2-3 feet away from somebody and you're not even talking to them.
Yes, that's happened. I actually did a Fox interview, so it's called fubbing for relationships and shoving for friendships.
Okay.
And when I was on vacation, everybody was on their phone. There was, I think, 18 of us, and I took everybody's phone and put it in my purse.
Wow.
And they were so mad. It was funny at dinner. They were actually very upset. And I'm like, why are we at dinner if we're not communicating with each other?
No, I mean, that's true. I mean, I've got a good friend that's got a group called the CRUDE Club and Connection Crew, JP Warren. And, you know, that's the whole point to his dinners. It's like, no, we're all going to be here and we're going to talk. And it's like, we're going to have good conversations and network and network in a way of just, hey, how are you doing? Not, hey, let me sell you my gadget today, you know?
Exactly.
So, I mean, I can't imagine. I've been on, we talk about shutting down. I've been on one cruise in my life, and that was like truly the most shut down I'd been. Cause you know, once you get out over the ocean, you got nothing unless you want to spend the extra money. Yeah. And so I'm like, nope, I'm good. And it felt nice.
It does. It's so invigorating, and people don't understand that. I mean, phones are designed to be a addict, you know, that's what they're, so we're constantly, I mean, studies are even, your phone's down and it's on silent, but you're constantly looking at it to see, you know, if it's on silent, you're looking at more. So it's very interesting, just the people don't understand the disconnection part of it.
Oh, it's a total disconnection. I think so. I mean, you know, other than making a phone call, I mean, it's really, you know, and then you talk about being disconnected, and yet how connected are we now that we're always have a phone with us, but yet we're still even more
we're more disconnected than anything. I know everybody's like, oh, if there's an emergency. I'm like, well, what happened when you were like, we just had house phones and there was an emergency? You waited to find out.
I know. Yeah. That is so true. It's like, what happened back in the day? It's like, you know, you would wait, or, you know, I still remember, you know, my dad had a cell phone very early on, but it was, you know, don't call on that, you know? And, you know, you're going to page my dad, and then, you know, and then when he gets to it, he'll call you back. And, you know, and of course, if I was in trouble or something, I'd freak out, you know, I'd be like, oh God, Dad's going to, you know, mom, call your father. But no, you know, I just remember those days. And nowadays, you know, as I told you, know, I like, before we got in, you know, I love fishing, and it's just great to get out there in the middle of the ocean, and you can't check your phone other than to maybe take a picture, you know, which is a good thing, I think. But no, to be with a group of 18 people and be at dinner and everybody, what's the whole point in everybody going on vacation together? It's like, aren't you with the 18 people you'd be sending stuff to anyway?
Exactly. Yeah. So it was very interesting, just the dynamics, but everybody actually thanked me and said that was the best dinner because everybody got to communicate. There was a couple there, I just met him, the same thing, talking about the phone. And I was like, I understand you're addicted to phones, but you know, we all work from our phones, but you can put your phones down, especially when you're hanging out on the weekends for 2 hours, put a timer on, connect with each other, go check your phones for 15 minutes, then put them back on silent, and, you know, make time for each other. That's what's the problem with this world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I know exactly what, I mean, yeah, you think about it, people are just always sitting there on your phone, scrolling. And, you know, and I mean, that's, and there's a generation that's, you know, younger than me that doesn't even know life without these phones.
I've seen kids texting each other. They're sitting right next to each other. It's, the socialization skills that are happening to the children.
They're terrible. There is no more socialization skills. I mean, and then I've got a young one, and I'll take him to the park, and sometimes I'll see the parents just like on the phone while they're pushing their kids. And I'm like, are you not in the moment? No. Like let's be in the moment. I'll sometimes I'll try to get a picture of them. Yeah. Or something like that, you know, not of the parents of my son.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
No, I know what you're. No, I've seen it too. I like to watch and observe and just see couples with their kids, and both couples are on social media. They're not talking to each other. They're, you know, younger child is just sitting there talking alone, and I'm like, that's just like so much. I mean,
distractions.
It's distraction, but what are you teaching? You know, those are going to be triggers that you're going to have to fix as an adult, you know, maybe not my generation, but coaches or whatever, because my parents weren't present. I didn't learn how to communicate. I don't know my proper mannerism to use a fork or whatever. You know, kids their brains are sponges. And
Yes.
And what are we teaching our children?
Oh, man, you just kicked it off to a whole other spot. And with that being said, I want to one thing, since we're talking about children, and hopefully everybody loves their children. So I want to just kind of switch gears and see if you would redo that quote that you mentioned about love. If you recall during our little pre-production.
Remember the quote, but I'll just say what it was. Yeah. Basically, to me, we were talking about emotions, and God, Jesus is pure love. And if our heart is pure in love, you will know when it's pure in love. So if you're feeling angry or upset or anything, that means that you're not living Christ-like. You're not living pure love. So just go back, and if you focus on your heart, bringing love to that, then those emotions they're false emotions that somebody else implanted on us will go away, and then you'll be back on your path downhill to the perfect journey that you're supposed to be on.
And that's the crude truth. I cannot thank you enough for that. Like I said, I loved it. I was like, and when you mentioned kids, because I think having a son has brought me nothing but pure joy and that purity, right? And it is just amazing. And that's what he is. He is pure. He is honest. And it's like, how can I continue to do that? And, you know, now I'm like, okay, I feel like I need to even be more present. So I'm like, so obviously I guess there's a problem with me, right?
See, I don't have children, so it's not a problem with me.
And so it's like, well, obviously I'm doing something. And so I cannot thank you enough. You know, how can people that either need to get a motivational speaker or that want to talk about that, hey, they can't embrace change and they need you, you know, how can people find you?
They can find me on LinkedIn or my website, masteringyourlifewithkristy.com.
Masteringyourlifewithkristy.com.
Yes.
Okay. Well, you know, Kristy, I cannot thank you again for coming on the show and doing this. I think I hope everybody out there today really just got a good little sense of pure joy.
Yes.
And maybe a little motivation. And that's what, you know, as I told you, that's what my show is about. I just want to be positive. I know it's called The Crude Truth. And thank you to everybody out there that always watches or listens to the show. I can't thank you. But I'm always welcome anybody on the show that wants to talk about anything, because it's just about being positive and promoting a positive, just that aura. So you did that today. So I cannot thank you enough for doing that. And then can you give me that website one more time for everybody out there?
Yes, masteringyourlifewithkristy.com.
Okay. Well, Kristy, again, thank you so much. And to all my listeners out there and people watching this episode, thank you as much as always. And we'll see you again on another episode of The Crude Truth.
Again, thank you to our sponsors, LFS Chemistry, NAPE Expo, Air Compressor Solutions, Exec CRUDE, Oil and Gas Workers Association, Pecos Country Operating.
The easiest way to start your own podcast and TV show? Real News Communications Network. Stand out from your competition. Produce streams of high-quality social media content. Become a thought leader in your industry. With RNCN, you get to be the host. We handle everything else. Tour one of our 3 locations in Dallas, Fort Worth, and the Colony. Call 972-402-6333 or visit launchashow.com to find out more.